How's it going, my trim people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back with a quick update video to let you know what's going on, future of the channel, stuff like that. All the boring stuff, really. So you might want to open a second tab or whatever. You already know the drill. But yeah, I've full disclosure tried recording this twice and I keep waffling for too long. So I'm going to try and keep this concise and to the point. Obviously, recently there's been a lot of drama going on in the Pokemon community, so I reached out to a few friends on Discord just to make sure they were okay, people that were in one way or another, tertiary figures in the drama, but somewhat attached to it, and just to make sure that, everyone was okay, and it made me realize that I hadn't posted a update video here, that I hadn't said anything to you guys since the LTC finished, and I said I was considering doing like a anime review channel. So I wanted to update you guys on what's happened with that, what's happening with me, and what we're going to do moving forward. So the anime stuff, thank you to everyone that gave like feedback and advice. I sat down to record videos for it, to write scripts for it, to do all of that good stuff. And I ran into a few problems. The first was that I don't really like being in front of a camera, as proven right now. When I have Pokemon on screen to distract me and immerse myself in the battles, I sort of forget that I'm on camera. But when I was just talking dead eye into a camera, trying to do reviews, really didn't like it, really didn't enjoy it, didn't suit my skill set. I'm not a naturally theatrical person. I'm not a born entertainer. I know you can work at these things and develop these skills, but it doesn't come naturally to me, as I'm sure you guys know from watching my videos. Which brings me on to the second thing, is that yes, I could have worked out and developed those skills to try to do it, but I realized that I was treating doing anime reviews on YouTube as though it was a plan B to my plan A of writing. And there was a couple of issues with that. The first is that I was sort of quitting on just going for it with writing before I'd really started, because it's really scary trying to get an agent and a publisher. For those of you that haven't tried to do that sort of stuff, it's super competitive, and basically, unless you're a person with a pre-built following, you only succeed if you're like elite at writing, if you're really good at it. And as someone with naturally low self-esteem, I was like, okay, I can't do this without a following, so let me go to YouTube to try and build a following in the hope that that will make up for my lack of writing skills. But I have been training as a writer for over a decade now at university, and yeah, that's kind of me just being afraid of trying to back myself and back the skills that I've developed, and saying that, hey, I'm a good enough writer to not need a pre-existing platform to sell books, that my writing alone will sell books. I don't need to be a person of interest to do that. So so that was issue one, was that I felt like I was quitting before I'd really tried plan A. And then issue two was being successful on YouTube, building a platform, getting a following by posting anime reviews or almost anything else is not a plan B. That is a really difficult plan A for most people. And the idea that I could just sort of fall into doing that as like a part-time gig, no, I would have had to work really hard at it, full-time hours, give my all to it, and probably still wouldn't have succeeded, because most people that try and make a living on YouTube fail. So this idea that I could just do it to build an audience to then go to writing how I want to write was kind of arrogant and complacent in a way, I realized. So I sort of checked myself and realized that, I'm avoiding doing one thing. I'm avoiding just trying to get published now because I'm insecure about my writing and myself as a person. But then I'm being kind of arrogant by thinking that I can do this other thing as a plan B. It just didn't make any sense. So I sort of brought myself back to reality and said, go with plan A to begin with. Try and write, really focus on your writing. Just give it a good, honest go. And if at the end of the day you fail, that's fine. At least you gave it your all. And like, that's something that I've always struggled with in life. Sometimes you can even see that in my draft league career, times where I would meme or I would draft memes or I'd whatever. I remember having this conversation with Addison. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, but she said to me, that sometimes she wanted to do what I do, where, You know, remember last league, PPL or whichever league it was, where I drafted backwards in my points. I started with Trapinch and drafted up to Houndstone or something, right? And she said, oh, sometimes she wished she could do that and take it less seriously and just have fun with it the way I did. But truth be told, if I reflect on it, I think sometimes I was having fun with it to avoid testing myself too much, right? If I give it my all and I draft a super serious team and I put all the hours in, then I don't win, I've got no excuse. If I meme and I fuck around and I don't try too hard, I can always comfort myself with the knowledge, well, I could have done it, but I didn't really try that hard. And that's such a cop-out. That's such a cop-out. So yeah, with my career, with my writing stuff, I didn't want to make that excuse. I didn't want to, feel later in life like I'd ever given myself that way out. So I've just gone back to the grindstone, basically. That's where I've been. I've been writing, I've been researching agents, researching publishers, and just trying to get to the point where I'm going to work so hard on this thing that even if, I'm already there with it basically, but even if it never gets published, it doesn't matter because I'm just proud of the work that I put into it. And that the work in itself is its own success. I don't know if that benefits any of you guys kind of thinking about it like that, but yeah, I think a lot of us need to realize that sometimes you can't. I watched a film recently. I'm going off a tangent here. This is a little bit of an anime review, but I watched an anime film recently called 100 Meters. I recommend looking it up on YouTube, on Netflix, sorry. It's really, really good. But yeah, it's in there. There's this kind of idea of like, it's about 100-meter runners and training your whole life to run 100 meters, whatever. But like, let's say the guy that finished second to Usain Bolt, I don't know who that was, but whoever it was the second fastest sprinter on the planet, one of the fastest sprinters in history, worked his whole life to be like that. He controlled everything he could control, but couldn't control the fact that he was born at the same time as Usain Bolt. Couldn't control the fact that Usain Bolt was just faster than him. And then no matter what that person did, they would never be faster than Usain Bolt. Genetics and other things just get in the way of that. So sometimes like you can't control if you win. You can't determine if you win or if the outcome is exactly what you want the outcome to be. But you can somewhat control the input that you put in, right? You can control to an extent how hard you work, whether you give it your all. That's not always true because sometimes we have mental blocks, we have trauma we need to work through, but be honest with yourself. Do you know what I mean? Be honest about, am I giving this my all? What do I need to do to be able to give it my all? Those kind of things. So that's where my head's been at. I've just been like, okay, I got to focus on my writing, give it my all, be proud of what I've put in, no matter what the outcome is. And I wouldn't have felt that way about YouTube and doing YouTube stuff. And then the final thing on the YouTube stuff was I sort of realized that even if I gave that my all and I got a YouTube career reviewing anime, I wouldn't want it if I got it. Recent events are kind of testimony to this. The internet is a scary place. The internet is a really scary place. Mob mentality spreads very quickly on the internet, and this is not a commentary on who does and doesn't deserve certain things. This is a commentary on the general state of the internet. When I got into a slight Twitter altercation with Duncan, some of you remember a while ago, no beef with Duncan, by the way, me and him made up as far as I can remember at the end of that argument. I think we left things on good terms. We have solid mutual friends. But it showed me, even in that brief interaction with him, the way his followers, undirected by him, by the way, it's not his fault, but the way his followers came at me, not knowing who I was, not knowing the context around it, just seeing that I had contradicted their favorite. The fact that they were just coming at me from that, just a few of them, not many, but just that little taste of it made me realize, like, I don't like the way the internet operates. Like, that's not who I am. I'm not someone who's going to war on Twitter for certain things. I'm someone who likes to take a step back and just think and talk things out. So, yeah, I hated that. And I hated the way I acted in that whole interaction with Duncan and stuff because whilst I'm not someone who wants to fight with people and wants to argue with people and wants all that confrontation, I am an antagonistic fucker. I am someone who pushes people's buttons and finds it really funny to wind people up and then go, whoa! Well, I'm that even though I'm an older brother, I'm that kind of stereotypical younger brother that sort of pokes the bear and then goes, oh, why has the bear bitten me? How dare you? I am like that, I do start drama and then go, why am I involved in drama? So again, I don't trust myself to be the type of person that would be good having a career on the internet. Because yeah, I'd find it amusing to wind people up and then I'd get upset when they snapped at me. So for all of these reasons, this is why I'd rather be a writer, right? This is why I'd rather have a career where I just shut myself in my little study and I write away. I don't have a study. I work on a kitchen table, which is just in front of me. That's why I looked at it. But in theory, you know, that's the life I'd like to live. And then when all the criticism comes my way and people tell me how rubbish my books are, I can hide from it. Anyway, this is longer than the first 2 update videos I recorded. I've realized I do ramble on. Update, right? What do I need to tell you? So that's what I'm doing. I'm focused on my book. Focused on that stuff. There are some writing competitions that I think I'm going to enter. If I do enter them, I will probably post videos here just explaining what they are and asking you if you're interested to support my writing in those competitions. I don't know that I'm definitely going to do it, but right now I'm intending to do that. So if you see a video pop up, it might be saying, hey, please support my story somewhere. Go and upvote it, stuff like that. If you don't care, you don't want to read it, you don't want to interact with it, that's totally up to you. I get that. If I get my book published, I will post updates here to let you guys know what's going on and all of that. And if I can, my dream has always been, if I get my book published, either through my agent or my publisher or just off my own back, I want to try and get sponsorships with the YouTubers that I admire, especially those that I'm friends with. So Joey, Pokey Chase, Seabad, people like this that have bigger channels but are also people that I've interacted with on a one-to-one basis. If I could find a way to convince my publisher to, you know, sponsor their video to promote my book, that would be amazing. So it may be like, if I can get a book out there, you might be sick of it because I might manage to get it promoted and with people's channels and you'll be seeing it in all your space. But it won't be a secret if I can, you know, if I can make that happen. So that's my goal. That's where my head is at. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Pokemon stuff, because I'm so focused on this other stuff and I'm incapable of juggling things, I'm unlikely to post any Pokemon videos before I post other updates telling you that things are happening in my career. Once my career is up and running and going in the way I want it to, I may then come back. In fact, I probably will come back and post Draft League battles again. I really love doing Draft League and I enjoy it more when I post it for you guys to see, and it won't necessarily be trying to get into big YouTube leagues. It might just be with friends again. It might be with big YouTube leagues because I have friends in those that I would love to play with again. So, but I don't know is the point. It will be whatever is available and that I feel like doing at that moment. But I'm not done is the point. I would like to upload more Draft League videos. So if you want to stick around and wait for those, please do. If you don't and you're sick of the sight of me, you're probably not still watching. But, you know, fair enough, unsubscribe and whatever. I purely am seeing this as like, I'm just a hobbyist with this now. So I'm not offended when people say, that guy's weird and I don't like watching his videos. I probably never would have been offended by that. But, you know, I get it. I am, and I'm not putting in the effort that someone like Joey does to grind and grind and grind and be successful. And I respect that immensely, but that's not what I'm doing. So how can I expect to see the same results as someone like that? I can't. So I get it if people tune out. Anyway, I've rambled on and on. Can you tell I haven't taken my meds for a few days? It's been a bank holiday here, so I've been unmedicated and just scrolling Twitter like many of you, I imagine, just doom scrolling everything that's been going on and yeah, just thought, you know what, I should probably let people know what's going on with me. So there you go, that's the update. Hopefully I'll be back soon with positive news about writing stuff. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.